Well, alright then. So, hello there everyone. My name is Ensei. I am a wanderer from an eternal void who is looking to find a place here in this reality. I have been doing so as I have been conducting analysis of Friday Night Funkin' mods, and today we will be discussing a mod that I have honestly been quite anticipating, and a mod that I have wanted to talk about for quite a bit. Okay, we're going to be discussing King K Rool's return. I genuinely thought that the original versus King K Rool was a hidden gem. A mod that generally honestly has a lot of things worth praising, but was not really one that got much attention. Well, I've long since wanted to see what they would come up with through an update, so that is what we are here to discuss today. So we're going to be beginning here on week K, which has been completely overhauled. We have 4 completely new songs to look at. So, I'm just going to jump right in. We're just going to see how things go.
Three, two, one, go!
Don't touch the zinger. Alright, we got ourselves a nice explanation. Just starting off being very upbeat right off the gate. And we sail along into the boxing ring.
Three, two, one, go!
And to be perfectly honest, I don't see how... Goodness. K. Rool's voice, in my opinion, does not work with this kind of, like, at these higher pitches. Like, it just sounds strange here to hear. Like, the higher pitches just, like, they just don't really quite work with his voice. I mean, this was the kind of stuff I was generally hoping for. It's like, we get to see much more of K Rool. More of the different appearances he's had over the course of his games. Now we move on to Donkey Kong Country 2. Ooh, with the airship. Okay, and we have another explanation, which is nice. We have DK there just tied up as he was in Country 2. And boyfriend just flipping the bird at K Rool. Overall, like, these songs certainly are trying to keep up the pressure, flaunting K Rool's boss status. Glad to see this mod got updated. It was certainly interesting to see how it references like the rocket barrels from Barrel Blast. Now we soar through the skies, as with DK. In the background, we get to see all the main locations from Donkey Kong games. And we have some health drain. I will admit, his health drain is pretty strong. We do actually get to sing as DK. And also, you can also see, if you pay attention to the background, we are actually like moving through the sky because we are like in a different position in accordance to the background. also is generally just nice to see how, like, DK also got, like, the Newgrounds treatment, just as K Rool did, with the sense of his art style. There's DK Isle. And there he goes. It's like, I'd say for general purposes, I noticed that. Glad to see this. Who did this? Okay, well, to my understanding, the only relevance that BandBuds has to K Rool is that BandBuds is the voice actor for K Rool. Well, that's the relevance that he has to this. Like, the main director for this was Kikaus, who is also the main composer for the mod. Or at least, like, he is, like, at least one of the main directors. I mean, overall, I feel that the songs, it's like, they certainly capture, like, this kind of high energy and menace that would come from K Rool. But to be perfectly honest, I feel like the only one that honestly lives up to the original soundtrack is Jungle Justice. I mean, the other ones are certainly alright in their own right, but I feel as though that the originals had more charm to it. But now we get to move on to moving beyond the main story. We have all other kinds of new territory to explore, starting with this, which was like the main teaser that was shown for this update, which is the inclusion of Funky Kong. So we have an entire thing of Coconut Mall from Mario Kart Wii. And I guess maybe just for the comedy of it, we have the default Psych Engine dialogue.
Beep.
Oh yeah, and also the dialogue itself is loud.
You must be new around here.
Like, it's just loud. It's like, I have it as low as the game will go. These audio files are just loud for whatever reason.
I've been competing here for the last 13 years, dog. And I haven't seen a single new face since then. You want me to funk with you?
Yeah, whoever they got to voice Funky, they certainly did a good job in getting that, in capturing his laid-back, expressive nature.
I mean, it's in my name, you know? Okay. I'm in. Just a warning, brother. I'm not going easy on you.
3, 2, 1, go.
We're just gonna start off with a nice remix of Coconut Mall. Oh dear. Here, that's quite a surprise. Alright. Well, I guess something I will kind of point out is that, I think it is nice to see, like, a new boyfriend and girlfriend design, which is, like, their aesthetic worked quite well with all of Week K, but here they don't quite fit in as much. It's like, Funky Kong is fitting more to the standard FNF look. Look, he doesn't really have, like, as much detail on him, so it is kind of a bit of a strange mix. Mixed with having a new boyfriend look, but Funky relates to the old one.
But I have something to confess. I actually went easy on you this time. In fact, I'm surprised that you were able to keep up with me.
It's quite. I guess it plays also the comedy how the random sounds that boyfriend makes just do not line up with the text box.
I've never been challenged to a rap battle before, so I don't know how things go. But I thought it was necessary to start with something easy. Oh, nah. None of my friends sing much. Same reason I got a little rusty on this. Racing is fun, but it stops being fun when Baby Mario constantly bonks you into a mountain to skip 90% of Mushroom Gorge.
Like how they choose to make reference to such a shortcut. What? Clever.
Or when Luigi bumps off a pipe to literally save himself a lap at Wario's Golden Mine.
Yeah, nice little references to the strange little shortcuts that there are in Mario Kart Wii.
Don't worry if you don't understand. Many don't. Very strange things happen here. Anyways, would you like to sing again? This time, I'll actually try to beat you, dog. That's the attitude, little man.
Alright, move on to our next one. And now we have some guests here. You see Pianta's a Koopa, you have the Buzzy Beetle that's just flying. I mean, generally speaking, like, there is not much going on with Funky Kong. Like, his songs are just not the most eventful. I mean, yeah, as is the nature of free play songs, they're generally just, like, bonus content. But then again, we've played through mods that... Like, I've definitely played through plenty of mods that they do a lot considering that they're technically bonus content. I mean, just for random sake, you have Indie Cross, which has... There is a lot of stuff that goes on in its bonus content, from the free play songs, the nightmare songs, even the hidden songs. I mean, at the very least, it's like having simplicity is a nice place to start. All right, and depending on what it is, simplicity is sometimes the best. I mean, I guess actually I'll make a comment on a simple change that actually does quite a bit, and it's just the general aesthetic of the strum line. Like the strum notes just being like hollowed out wood. You have the different colors for the standard notes, and then you also have how the ratings. The ratings are different as well. Like the sick rating is kingly, and the good rating is cool. Well, it's like simple aesthetic changes that do a lot to enhance the immersion.
Man, I would love to, but I don't have the energy for that. I could sing a slow song, though.
Yeah, this is quite a bit of a strange take here. Instead of trying to go even further with its difficulty, Funky just gets tired out. He gets tuckered out.
Do you want a challenge? Tell you what, I'll throw some shells at you during the next song. I can't give you any hotter songs, dog, but I'm pretty sure you can handle this. All good?
I mean, I will admit, this general stance, honestly, to some extent feels like a cop-out. In fact, that they're essentially taking, like, the lazy route with making something difficult. Because pretty much what he means by just throwing shells at you, it's pretty much just the fact that this song just has hurt notes. That's all it is. It's nothing special. And what also doesn't help is that this third song is called Ultra Shortcut, which, by the sense of it, would obviously suggest that it's meant to be very difficult, because in general, those shortcuts are difficult to perform. Or the ultra shortcut is like something that is much more difficult to perform. So you would figure the song in general would just be a lot more difficult with much more of a skill-based reason for it. Or having hurt notes be the reason for it is just unfitting.
The public wants a great ending. Let's give them one.
We also have Daisy. We also have some more guests. We have Daisy, we have Roy, we have a crewmate that is animated differently. We also have Birdo and Matt. Also, I'm not quite a fan of how, like, the shells are the same colors as the notes. Makes it harder to tell them apart. That was also just a random charting error. I mean, I guess to be fair, the song does manage to make itself, just from the chart, more difficult. I guess it is just kind of strange that it is a slow song, of all things. All things given that Funky is much more about high energy, it would generally just make more sense to have something kind of just raising the stakes, but also raising the energy as well. Well, with that, that's the end of, like, the songs that actually have weeks to them. The rest of the stuff is going to be found in free play. We also have some nice art for each of them as well. Captured, Royal Rumble, Blunderbuss Blast, Jungle Justice actually has a nice colored one. And there's the funky mode. Now let's see some other Donkey Kong Country characters. So now we're starting with Lord Frederick from Tropical Freeze. The heart of the volcano is where he established his throne. Here, the new boyfriend still works. A laugh with no animation. Love to see it. And again. Boyfriend gets his hey animation though. Now, generally speaking, the song just feels strangely uneventful. I mean, again, like, it is a free play song, but it feels... I guess, rather, it's just that it doesn't quite have the same intensity as K Rool does. As even though Lord Frederick himself is also he's also the final boss of his respective game, but there's just not much to it. Anyway, you certainly have that dark feeling in his music, but there's not so much there's not that much impact with it. It's as if he's not being taken as seriously as he theoretically should be. mean, overall, it's not a bad song. I mean, it's like... It has general qualities for what it's worth, but it feels like there's just not enough weight to the music. Okay, Bodacious. We have ourselves another funky song.
3, 2, 1, go.
Where we are actually at Funky Flights. Figured K Rool would be taken more as a goofball. Yeah, to be fair, K Rool has been put in more comedic situations than some of these other characters. So that is kind of true. Here's something we don't usually see. We actually have scroll speed changes. And then here, it's just faster. Yeah, strange place to put it. Strange place to put a reference to thorns. And just small snippet of just ooh monkey. Just for the fun of it. I mean, I'd say that song certainly has enough energy in it to support what it's meant to be based on. Or I guess, or at least the sense of the scenery. At least it supports the scenery. Okay, now we're gonna step into a very strange one. This is just a very... This is an oddly specific thing that they are referencing here. Here, I'll just let the song play, and then I'll explain it afterwards.
3, 2, 1, go.
Was this from the show? I'm assuming you mean Crystal Coconut? This is not Crystal Coconut. TV series, yeah. Donkey Kong and the Crystal Coconut. No, this is not from Crystal Coconut. Okay, so Forgotten Fedora is based off of one very specific advertisement that appeared in a Nintendo Power magazine. There was an the character is just referred to as Fedora Kong, and he was essentially a spokesperson in the magazine for Donkey Kong Land 2. That is literally the only appearance that he has ever had. He was in that one magazine. So how exactly a person on the dev team found that is quite surprising, because it is a very obscure thing. Considering that it is a advertisement for Donkey Kong Land 2, it is a little strange why the player character is Dixie, because Dixie was not in Donkey Kong Land 2. So, it's a little strange in that regard. And overall, I would say that this is probably the best song in the mod, just generally speaking. Like, it's very obscure, but it has a lot of quality to it. Overall, it's also expanding on it with an original kind of plot. Because now Fedora Kong is being treated as a monster that has come back, as the little rap portion said. Now he has come back to make you scream. I mean, he's now a horror character, basically. Yeah, it's like, it took a bit of searching for me to find out about this, so it is very interesting to see the fact that that's what it's based on. And I saw this guy in one of the banner arts for the mod. We get to look at the skeletal Crocs from the roller coaster of Donkey Kong Country 2. Or at least one of the roller coasters. This one in particular being in a library. Scared what they'll do with that interpretation. I mean, you just have to. You're essentially putting faith in someone's imagination, basically. Some managed to bear some tasteful fruit, others not so much. think that was supposed to be a one-third, like a third's timing, but not quite. Like, that's not even the first issue of that. I mean, to be honest, this mod itself did not really get much attention either, sadly. So, people may even forget about this mod's existence. So now, much like my comment earlier about, like, sometimes simplicity is best, generally speaking, I'd say that honestly applies to Haunted Rails. Yeah, like, I feel as though the general simplicity of it is honestly what makes it a good song. Although, I mean, there could have been certain things that they could have tried to do that would have made it a lot more interesting, like, considering that over the course of the roller coaster, you have to deal with the skeletal croc multiple times. They could have had, like, other ones that would randomly appear here and potentially even sing. DK rapping. So nice. Well, I mean, we had a strange reference to the DK rap through that little rap portion in Forgotten Fedora. So, you can at least say we have seen something that at least references it. And where the actual rap itself is, that's something we'll have to find out. Okay, King Brass. Which, now we get to go back to the silhouette style. This is like another simple thing I could have mentioned earlier, but yeah. The little dancing of the strumline here is another thing. A simple aesthetic that, honestly, makes it more immersive. Also, what is actually a little odd here is that, the K Rool design here is actually the same one as the original mod, but boyfriend sprite has been updated. Yeah, King Brass is kind of just a short and sweet jazz song, pretty much. It's not even intended to it's not intended to be eventful. It's just a simple tune. I found this design choice interesting. I'm understanding the reference behind. And now we get to move on to this. Here's our first joke of the mod. Our first joke song, rather.
3, 2, 1, go.
Hey there, boss. What are you doing? Shut up! I'm taking a cave piss!
Like, always. I guess they thought K Rool was higher quality sprites. They updated BF sprite to be up par. I mean, they updated K Rool's sprites for it's like the sprites you see in Captured are updated sprites. Alright, they aren't the same as the original, but the K Rool sprites in the silhouette, which are based off the same original sprites, were not updated. It's a bit of a strange thing. Probably based after Mar. Yeah, that's exactly what this is based on. And so that's what the art here is based on. And the song is... The song goes pretty hard for... Considering what we're doing here, the song is, like, a really good song. Like, it has a great composition. The chart actually has a fair amount of difficulty to it. Ooh, it has a pretty great flow. Honestly, it's surprising how good quality this song of all things is. Lunkheads. Okay, so now we have our Crystal Coconut song.
3, 2, 1, go.
Crush and Clump just hiding behind a rock there. Now we actually have our clean third timings. Yeah, that's also something to talk about. This song really shows the strange usage of jumps and hands. Like, they were somewhat fine in King Piss, but here they don't really do much to, like, enhance the song. Because they are not necessarily playing to any sort of intensity the song may have. Because they're also just generally thrown around. Yeah, because this is obviously the proper song to be cracking jokes like an Among Us reference. Hello there, Opera. Nice to see you here. Given the sense of the Crystal Coconut, it generally is fitting that we have something very simple, and of course, it's also displayed by these simple-minded characters that are Crusha and Clump. Well, at least for the sake of how they're portrayed in the show. It's like, the song, again, it's a really good song to listen to, although the chart is like, again, as I mentioned, a very strange usage of jumps and hands. And so it's not a bad song by any means. Marketable, right. Our next joke. K Rool has become a marketable plushie.
Now who dare challenge me to a battle? I'll be in my throne.
Yeah, just referring to the... Yeah, it's like, don't turn me into a marketable plushie. And now we just have DK Jr. joining us. And that is exactly how that song should end. I would want to think that is DK Jr. given the specific depiction he has, because I do not believe that DK from the original Donkey Kong has that sort of depiction to him. Also, pretty sure. Also, technically, it's like I'm pretty sure that would be DK Jr. because it matches the appearance that DK Jr. has in one of the old Mario Kart games. It's because DK Jr. was in a Mario Kart game. Like, the sense of the physique generally matches. Again, it's just kind of hard to explain here, because, like, we don't really have much of a concept to run off of, or at least, like, a very strange concept that we are running off of. Yeah, the original Super Mario Kart. Yeah, we don't really have much of a concept that we're running off of, but it's like, it still makes for a very enjoyable song. The art is exactly fitting for the concept, and it generally is fun to play, so it's like, it's certainly doing its job. I guess that, okay, I guess if I am wrong, that'll be something I will find it. I guess that is something I can search up later. Yeah, so now we have our first, remix. It can be found on Keekhaus's YouTube channel that at some point he did in fact make a monochrome cover using K Rool's vocals. Well, now he has done... Yes, this is monochrome. And, well, now he has decided to... Essentially, he has overhauled it. To now be a full-on remix. And it is certainly something.
3, 2, 1, go!
Getting those higher pitches again. Okay, so overall, I'm just gonna state it like this. Monocroc does not feel like monochrome. Like, if it does not really feel proper to call this a remix of monochrome because the song is just so different from Monochrome. It's like they don't feel like the same song. Like you can't really call this a remix of the original song because it doesn't even feel like the original song. The only resemblance we have to the original song is King K Rool's appearance, but like there's nothing about the overall feel of the song, nothing about like what is sung that honestly feels like the original. Like in total we have like 2 verses that are taken from the original, or technically one verse is actually perfectly taken, but some others are like partially taken. Again, it just does not feel like a Monochrome remix. So it just becomes its own standalone thing, and therefore has a very strange relevance to the very strange concept to say. DK Rap Song, DK Junior arcade game theme, and a DK arcade game theme where you might play as Jumpman. I mean, I guess to be fair, it's like, since overall this is specifically meant to be relevant to King K Rool, getting stuff from the arcades was probably more likely to be out of the question. DK Rap could have been more plausible since Clump has an appearance in the rap because he's the one who interrupts it. So like there could have been some kind of relevance to the rap. I mean, I guess I'll just say it here. There is no song that is, to my understanding, that is explicitly based off the rap. There is a song that is referred to as a rap, and we will be getting to that soon. But anyway, now we're just going to move on to another cover. The one song from Sonic.exe Round 3, the cancelled Round 3, yeah, here we are. Fight or flight. But that's what we're dealing with here. And I'm just gonna say it now, but this is going to be the exact same story as Monochrome. This song just does not feel like the original.
3, 2, 1, go!
Now, I guess to be fair, the same as with Monochrome is that like the sense of just having this cover in here is just very bizarre. There isn't really much of a purpose to it. I mean, at the very least, you have the sense of relevance of at least having a cover of it, or I guess a remix, since it's not just a cover. But the sense of relation it has is just basically nothing. I mean, plus in general, I guess I'm just not the greatest fan of the fact that that song is just getting so many covers done of it. Out of it. I mean, I guess to be fair, that's why the official upload for this song is referred to as a parody. This is meant to be a parody of the song. It's like it's self-aware of the fact that this song is just being overdone with covers. Alright, now we're going to step into... I guess to be fair, it's like, technically we can obviously have some other stuff going on here because, well, considering Tropical Freeze, which does not have K Rool in it, and then here we have Donkey Kong Country Returns, featuring, if I'm correct, the boss of World 6.
3, 2, 1, go!
I guess this boss is just kind of strange in general from Returns, considering that the bosses of Returns are hypnotized animals, so, like, you'd figure it'd be more, like, natural-based, probably some more, like, actual nature-related things for all of them, which, like, I'm pretty sure that generally, holds up with most of them. Just not this one. Now, the actual, like, referencing this art, I thought is just a nice touch. I'd say the overall aesthetic is fitting in relevance to Country Returns, and especially the last portion where we're facing against the Tiki. He has a pretty alright rhythm to it. Dude, I don't really have much to say on the gameplay. It's kind of just a standard chart. Or not really anything too special with it. Like, overall, it's just a pretty good standalone song. And this is another bit of strange territory. Stolen Crown. This song is... This is just... I mean, it's just overall strange, but the general thing I will express is that this is just completely original. And we also have more health drain. Which again is just pretty strong in its own right.
and help become the new Kremlin king. There's no way I'd ever work for you. So
Yeah, the premise of this song is completely original. This is not based off of an existing thing. I believe this was composed by Keith Cows. Like, this is an idea that Keith Cows came up with. There was an initial joke that kind of just started with just having a character referred to as Faker K Rool, which was just meant to be like a parody of Xenophanes. And it has just evolved into something more. I mean, the sense of lore that Keith House provided is just that this is a false version of K Rool. K Rool looking to become the new king. And it's like, overall, where we are is like, essentially, it's like a chamber for a power source. Like, Kikas doesn't provide much, but yeah, the general sense of it is that this faker here is referred to as Sing C Rool, and he's just looking to obtain power. So in this chamber that obtains a power source, Clump is just here standing guard. There isn't really any mention of what Sing C is capable of. But at least it generally seems to suggest that he's in like a weakened state given his more frail body. Where the real K Rool is not really explained. However, we will actually see something interesting regarding this song, because we are not just going to be discussing this mod for the purposes of this. There is also a legacy version, which is a bunch of unused and older versions of songs. So that's some content that I will also be discussing. But it's like, I'll be getting to that once I'm done with this, which we should be near the end. Tiki Tack Attack. So we got to see one of the Tikis earlier. Well, now we're going to see more of them. We get to hear a decent number of instruments in this song, because each of the tikis is meant to be based off an instrument. It would be neat if there was a Smash... If they actually chose to just base something off one of the Smash Ultimate tracks. It would have been neat. So I guess since I did not mention this earlier, the note splashes are the same, like, default Psych Engine note splashes. I'm not really gonna say anything about it, but they could have changed that. Much like they changed most of the other aesthetics. Now we have the final boss from Donkey Kong Country Returns. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it's like, I will overall just say this, it's like, for the ambitions or like the hopes I had for what this mod could have become, it's a little disappointing, funny to be honest. I mean, it's not like what they delivered is bad, but it's just, there's so much more they could have done. Like, and there's like other things they could have tried to explore. Like, I'll just mention this here, but like, I'd say, like, if we refer to, like, K Rool's, like, big appearances, we'll just say Donkey Kong Countries 1 through 3 and DK64. So, he has his 4 main appearances. Yeah, the story mode went through 3 of them. Baron K. Roolenstein, we do not get to see him, and this mod genuinely has nothing based on him. Just kinda sad. Your K Rool focus, but still, they added "fuck you" with a Wii Mario Kart track, so kind of misleading. I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess to be fair, Funky at least has the relevance because of the Funky Kong mode. I mean, well, then again, the Funky Kong mode is Tropical Freeze, which is not K Rool, so it is overall a bit misleading with that in general. Yeah, in all honesty, I kind of just talked over Tiki Tak Attack because, again, it's just not the most eventful song. Again, I don't think it's bad, it's just not the most eventful. I don't really think there was much else that they really could have played with, though, so they kind of just worked with what they had. They came up with something of the little material they could base it on, or the general sense of concept they could play with. Oh yeah, and that's why I mentioned why we're near the end, because that is the last song found in Free Play. However, that is not the last song in the mod. There is one more song in the mod. However, we don't really have a standard means of accessing it. We have to go through here. So, let's take a look at K-Rap. Which I'll also know for general purposes is... This song is also a little, strange because, technically, you normally would not be able to access this song even through the chart editor, because this song has a unique difficulty that no other song has, so you have to forcefully make a new difficulty if you want to actually load this song. But, like, the song is here, the song is complete, and it's technically more of a joke. You could see it just from the health icons, you're gonna see it through the art.
3, 2, 1, go!
Yeah, you were hoping for the DK rap. Unfortunately, that's not what you're getting. It is just a little odd that, like, K Rool's face is, like, merged with Pepe. Yeah, the fact that this is, like, in a sense, the last song we could play, it's, like, not the greatest send-off.
No one has the crystal.
You also got a little voice line of him from Crystal Coconuts. See, hold on a moment. I need to look at something. Okay, hold on a second. My bad. There actually is another one. I forgot about this one. So, Welcome Aboard New. Welcome Aboard is the name of the first song from the original versus King K Rool mod. Welcome Aboard New is, well, at least Welcome Aboard New in this mod is not quite the same. Because not only is it a new instrumental, but we also have something more interesting with the vocals.
3, 2, 1, go!
Also featuring the old K Rool sprite.
What is it to do here to see them off like you?
Doesn't run the race because they wants to have a date.
Why would you go celebrate forget something rude?
All the same action with my GF may be late.
Well, we'll call the bar and this bliss is offering cause you would die mistake of challenging the leader of the Kremlin.
It's not our intention to come here and pick a fight. We only come here just because we want to have like 13 night.
Oh, hilarious it was like this breath has shaken down.
Even if you're bigger than me, I will throw you down.
If you think what destiny was, you'll have me cry. Hit the bottom and try again, and I will let you down. I'll just come around and smash you on the ground.
Wave that banana, I'll make it turn around.
Superpower on the board.
Running with courage, honest to
Oh,
God.
let's show this we'll see which of us will swim away from here. Even that anchor makes me stronger. Will you hold up from me?
Yeah, so they turned the vocals into actual lyrics. Which is just very interesting, but also hard to really... It's a little hard to hear what they're actually saying.
And this my battle,
mission, always missions the rule. We're just, we can't do, we don't think we're so cool. Next up, forward, we'll see which one of you take control.
And I will be.
Alright. And with that, that should be... I'm going to look again just to be sure I'm not missing another one. And it appears I am not missing another one. Okay, yeah. So that is the last song of K Rool's return. So let me just go back to here. Yeah, so my overall thoughts on the mod, it's like, yeah, for the overall hopes I had for this, I'd say it managed to deliver it in very specific circumstances. Like, there are very specific songs that really managed to show themselves off from the rest. Forgotten Fedora is one. Stolen Crown to some extent is one. King Piss is a strange one that managed to do itself a really good job. And Haunted Rails, and then Jungle Justice. But it's like, honestly, it's like, everything else felt either just a standard kind of song, or just felt a little disappointing, and or irrelevant. Of it. So it's like, if I'm gonna be, like, attempting to give scores to this thing, I mean, I'd say overall the art leaves a very strong impression, so I'd say art could get a 10. Soundtrack, I'd probably give it like a 9. I'm more so because, like, you have, like, songs like Algid, which are, like, don't really quite have the intensity they should. Algid and Ultra Shortcut. And then there's just the strangeness of even of just Ruler Fool and Monocroc. There's, like, a bit of a strange vibe to it overall. I think more overall time and more references to source material would have been perfect. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, they certainly went out to be very different with a lot of things. Oh yeah, there's also the general sense of the fact that the DK rap is just nowhere to be found, which is kind of unfortunate. But yeah, it's like they certainly tried to be very different with what they were grabbing, but it feels like they kind of should have just stuck to the standard ones and just brought them to life. Like, honestly, it's just quite a shocker that Baron K. Rulenstein is nowhere. He's just nowhere to be found. Alright, well, so let's see. So that's the end of that one, but now the next thing we will be looking at is the Legacy Edition. Let's take a look at some of the unused content. There is a subtle reference to it, but it is a very important song for DK history. Yeah, in general, the DK rap is a very recognized song. Plus, in general, DK64 is just one of the most well-known games from the Donkey Kong franchise. If not the most recognized one. So, now we have... So let's take a look at this stuff. So here we have Welcome Aboard Old, Seafaring, Finest Hour, Royal Retribution, Finest Finale, and Getaway. Getaway is a completely new song. So I guess it was just a new song they came up with, but they just scrapped. And then here we have old versions of the new Week K. So let's start here.
Three, two, one, go!
They also tend to have, like, some, like... The cutscenes we hear were pretty much cutscenes that they, I guess, planned for, and just did not... just chose not to use. They ended up coming up with something different. Also, I guess unlike the original art that they used for the stage, you actually now have a cleaner view of DK Isle. Because in the original mod, it was much more behind K Rool, so it was harder to see. Oh yeah, Seafaring! So we have a new Seafaring, and for whatever reason, we're now singing as Funky Kong. The thing is that it's mainly the instrumental that changed. I mean, assuming that there are people that actually have enough interest in it to do a fan update. But I'm sure there's someone. Or adaptations. Alright. Yeah, here's an unused stage. Now, the song is the same. I'm not quite a fan of this chart. I just feel like the mini jacks here, they're not the nicest. They're not the nicest, pretty much. It would be cool if the entire OG soundtrack made it in somewhere under like a category or something. Yeah, honestly, what I feel like is more surprising is just why did they decide to just make a new story instead of kind of just like trying to build off like the simple story that they built with the original soundtrack. And then we get our original cutscene from the original mod that brings us into Royal Retribution.
3, 2, 1, go!
Yeah, Royal Retribution has a new instrumental as well. And again, we're using the... Like, even for the Legacy version, we're still using the new Silhouette Boyfriend sprite. Guitar soundtrack, guitars, I mean, in general, if a person has enough passion in a project, they don't care about getting paid. That's kind of like the nice thing when it comes to like these fan games, because it's like you get to see like when you're able to get like so incredible quality, and consider the fact that they just made this as a passion project. They cut the filler songs and add in more relevant songs. What's in there already is too much. I mean, I guess overall it generally does kind of depend on, like, who is the person that is directing the mod. Because, like, it's like they're the ones that like are the people who approve of like what gets put in, and so like they're the ones that control the overall direction of the mod. I have already talked about a mod where that was a problem.
Three, two, one, go!
And Finest Finale, to my understanding, the chart has been altered, but the song is the same. EXE, actually, no, that's not the mod I'm referring to with, the director. I'm referring to, DDTO Plus, because I've given my thoughts on that. I mean, I just feel like the entire conception of that mod as a whole was a problem. It wasn't like, generally it was not just the director. Like, if anything, I mentioned like the director regarding DDTO because the director made specific decisions that kind of just led to things that I believe to be problems, whereas the entire conception of Monica.exe is a problem in itself. Until when the director kind of spiraled out of control. Okay.
Three, two, one, go!
Yeah, Getaway is the song before Blunderbuss Bash. And Health Train, because why not? sprites that was recording this song. Yeah, it's like, the song has the effort put into it. I guess, to be fair, that's the point of the Legacy Edition. To ensure that, like, this old content is not just lost forever. It really likes to use the cannonballs, though. That is something. Alright, so now we have the older versions of the new songs. Or at least the new main week. And now we just have the storyboard of the cutscene. Or storyboard of an unused cutscene. Yeah, it's like, obviously it's just kind of odd because the fact that it is just its own thing, like it's its own thing rather than being an attachment to the actual main mod in question. Also, to be fair, this song, the old version of Captured, is not really too different from the main one. I think it's mostly just, I think maybe the instrumental had certain changes.
3, 2, 1, go!
This one is much more apparent in being different. Yeah, yeah, it's like, yeah, you're certainly making sense, and it's like, there's other means of preserving this lost content. legacy version, they could scrap content and make it themselves, provide the creators show with it. Yeah, it's a fair enough point. Oh yeah, bear in mind, this is now the third Captain K Rool icon we've seen. And overall, I'd say this old version of Blunderbuss Bash is just like it is just a completely different. There's a completely different vibe to the song. I feel like overall, like the standard one, like the current one, it's like has much more of that dark feeling to it, which is more fitting of K Rool's character. This one still has like a fair amount of intensity to it to match. But I like the menacing, like the dark undertone that the current one has. Specific yeah, more cannonballs. Just a vanilla one. guess the sense of, like, having, like, a vanilla Mario mod would kind of just be, like, pretty much, like, obviously, yeah, a bunch of mods that comes, like, Mario and Sonic are, like, focused on, like, very specific games from them. Like, for it to be a vanilla one, it's basically just the sense of, they're not basing it off the game. They would basically just be taking the character outside of their territory into the FNF territory. Or just bringing their reality to FNF, rather than bringing FNF to them. Bye. Yeah, he has the Newgrounds angry face as the buckle of his belt. And there is a little more in free play. I mean, they even have their own art as well. Yeah, we're starting here. So, this song is basically no different from how it was in the original mod.
3, 2, 1, go!
Like, aside from just being on, like, the better stage, like, the more polished stage, it's still the same messed up chart as before. Badass. A Mega Man. Yes. Yeah, it's like Penkaru made this remix of Gangplank Galleon. And yeah, they didn't put this in the new one. Mega Man song would be a badass mod, not gonna lie. Yeah, fair enough. But there's not really much of Mega Man. I know something happened for whatever reason. I know something happened for whatever reason. It's good in this. Something happened for whatever reason. It's good to get from the song, or just not really come on. Oh, I also noticed that they actually fixed the thing. I mentioned how like K Rool's animation speed was like the rate at which K Rool would do his idle animation was actually slightly quicker than Boyfriend. I mentioned that as kind of just an interesting little thing, saying that K Rool was kind of just playing by his rules. But apparently they actually I guess fixed it because now he's popping at the same speed as Boyfriend. Captured Royal Rumble, Blunderbuss Bash, Jungle Justice. Yeah, somehow, even though you can't access the standard one in the current one, you can access the old one here just fine.
3, 2, 1, go!
And you're also playing as Funky Kong in this one, whereas you were playing as K Rool in the other one.
He's pulling his cock out!
Yeah. The old version does not quite have the very energetic groove that the current one has.
No one has a crystal titty.
Oh, the cutscene. I will say, if I had made this an edited video, I would have included Legacy. Like, I will say that I would have included Legacy, since it is technically content from the same mod. So yeah, I could give like such a reevaluation of scores. I've been doing quite alright. Right? I hope the same can be said about you. Yeah, I guess, like, not necessarily reconsidering the scores, just, like, giving it, yeah, its own scores, because, like, it's a general, obviously, it has to be considered, considering it is technically, like, content from the same initial idea. Right, on to the old version of Lunkheads, which...
3, 2, 1, go!
More of the difference is the art than the song itself. Or rather, I think technically, the only differences is meant to be with the art, because the song itself is generally the same. Do have chart differences, because in general this song just does not really put as much, does it not do as much with jumps like the current one, like the standard one does. Yeah, realistically, the only real change that happens comes from the art, and I guess technically the art is, like, technically worse here. I can understand, obviously, why they changed it, because, well, the general sense of what we get from the art here is that, well, the weird kind of CG that came from Crystal Coconut, well, obviously does not have much of a cartoonish feel to it, aside from the actual designs of the characters themselves. So it's like, when you actually draw them in the cartoonish, and overall they're just a bit more serious, it kind of takes away from the kind of stupidity that comes from that show. So technically it is worse from the sense of the art. Oh yeah, for whatever reason, this thing has an old version.
3, 2, 1, go!
Overall, the setting is just not as dark. And then also, I guess, considering I never mentioned it, like, this is the only place we get to see Diddy in the entire mod. And to be fair, we don't really get to see much of Donkey Kong either. I mean, I guess maybe more so, like, I wouldn't really phrase it as being a send-off. I would kind of just phrase it as being, like, the origin. Or is it, like, essentially, like, when you have, like, a legacy, it's like, you consider where it started. So it's like, it's kind of just showing the roots of the mod, although this doesn't exactly give the cleanest roots for it. Like, technically, the original thing would be a better sense of being classified as the Legacy Edition. A scrambled old. Which I'm pretty sure it's also mostly an art thing. The instrumental is also different. Oh yeah, that's another thing that isn't quite the most helpful. The chicken's voice, like their voice is like the same sound, is like very similar to a sound that's just used in the instrumental. So discerning his voice from the instrumental is just harder. Okay, yeah, so here's gonna be our... This is gonna be the thing I kind of talk about regarding the sense of K Rool in regards to this original character called King K Rool.
3, 2, 1, go!
Clump here just obviously has a different look. Now here is another, like, strange thing, is that when I was initially trying to determine the origin of this song, I did end up coming across information regarding a very specific Crystal Coconut episode that actually does bear some sort of resemblance to what's going on here. Just regarding like a doppelganger K Rool as like a different character. From the morning.
Join me and help become the new Kremlin King. There's no way I'd ever work for you. So be it.
Yeah. Yeah, K Rool is here too in this version. And this is where, like, the strange parallel with the Crystal Coconut comes back into play, because that's probably what he's holding. So it's like, it was kind of strange how, like, there's like a lot of things that play on the fact that there's potential of this being a reference to a very specific Crystal Coconut episode, but no, I just randomly find out that this opponent is just an original character.
Be gone from here and take your forked tongue with. Don't think I'll stay defeated. I'll be back.
Yeah, now Tiki Tack Attack also has an old version.
3, 2, 1, go!
At least glad that something like that stayed out. Alright, so that takes care of that. But now, if I'm correct on this... Okay, so there is, one more song I can...
3, 2, 1, go!
I can access. Through here, though. But it's a bit weird because I'm pretty sure from me playing it, from what I can tell, this song is just unfinished. Like, the song is just called Evil. It features...
3, 2,
It
1,
is...
go!
The voice is Lord Frederick. Like, the voice is Lord Frederick, but it's like... It's also a pretty different song from Algid. Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah, and this is the thing that makes more sense of like, what I mean by the song being unfinished. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, the song is just still going, but there's no more chart to play. It's something that they apparently thought about, but did not really finish. I gotta just let this sit here. And then there's one more thing I need to try to show, which I may actually have to go back to K Rool's Return in case it's different here. But I need to showcase the game over. Because the game over is a very explicit reference. Oh yeah, and he goes ahead and says evil there, so, let's just get out of here. Let's just play a song so we can just die.
Three, two, one, go!
Yeah, let's just see. Does this one have it? It does not have it. Instead, it just features this theme. And it features a classic Donkey Kong Country sound effect. Yeah, so this does not have it. I have to go back to the main build to, show you that. But, yeah, so that's all the content that's here. I guess, okay, so as I gave a score for Return, and gave a score for the main build, giving a score to Legacy. It kind of sounds like Matt. Okay, I can kind of see it. So overall, giving scores here, well, I'd say for draw purposes, art likely gets a 9 out of 10 because like there's some art that has like obviously like styles that end up clashing and not really clashing in a good way. Like I mean, it's like I can see what you're getting at with the math thing. Yeah, it's like there's just particular arts that ends up clashing, much like Clump in Stolen Crown Old. And then you just have like the general difference of like how the art is not quite as fitting in Lumpheads. Or Lunkheads, rather. So it's like, I'd say I give art 9 out of 10. Soundtrack, I would probably give... I mean, in general, this... The menu screen for Legacy looks better than the final build. I guess it has, like, more appropriate... I guess, to be fair, one of the things that kind of helps is the fact that overall, this is actually in, like, at least, like, somewhat in rhythm in comparison to the other one, which isn't quite in rhythm. Rhythm with the music. I'd say for, like, the changes that they, like, for the changes they actually did make to the older songs, I mean, I just don't think there was anything wrong with the original, so it's like, I kind of just, like, I don't really have much of an opinion when it comes to the changes. I'd say it's like, it doesn't really change anything about, like, overall what the song is meant to be accomplishing. Although it is a little strange why Funky Kong is singing in Sea Fairy, that's just odd. I don't think it's the most fitting. And then you have, like, some other songs, like Getaway, it's like, that are pretty good, that are good in their own right. Alright, and then you have to consider the older versions of these, which, like, well, I guess soundtrack I would probably sum it up to being, because some of them are obviously lesser versions. I could probably say soundtrack is, like, either also a 9 out of 10 or likely an 8 out of 10. Now, gameplay, it's like, they were pretty abundant with the usage of the cannonball. They really like to use the cannonball, which I also need to show something else regarding that. Regarding that, where is... I'll make sure to show it in the new build as well. Yeah, so... the cannonball is just instant death. That's just how it works. So not only do you have, like, the generally difficult chart and the health drain, you also have a note that you have to hit or you die. It certainly shows the fact that they wanted to make K Rool be a threatening opponent. I mean, I guess to be fair, the logic behind why it would just kill immediately is because, well, in Donkey Kong Country, you technically only have 1 health. Still no DK Jr., although if you want to get technical, the current DK is the growth DK Jr., but still not the same. Isn't like modern DK compared to like modern Mario like DK Senior, technically? Like, isn't that the child of DK Jr.? I could be very wrong on that, but I think that's the case. But it's like, I assume the logic that goes behind, like, the cannonball killing is because, well, in Donkey Kong Country, you technically only have 1 health. It's like, each Kong can only take 1 hit. So, there probably is logic to defend why it's like that. Like that, it still makes for something that's obviously rough. And it's like, you have charting errors, you have some questionable parts of charts, but overall... the game contradicts what I'm saying. Fair enough. I'd say overall gameplay will likely get like an 8 out of 10. I mean, they use health drain a decent amount out, and they are a little rough with it. Without like any valid reasoning to even have it in the first place. So yeah. And then concept, I'd say concept generally falls onto just the fact that overall it's like, whereas they do tell a generally compelling story, there are particular elements where they got a bit distracted and focused on elements that weren't exactly related to the matter at hand. In the next game, feature games keep on previous logic contradictions nonsense overall. Video game logic at its finest. Yeah, so when you have like the characters that are basically outside of K Rool's territory, that's when you're starting to kind of lose it when it comes to the proper relevance to the mod as a whole. So I guess the best sense of what I could give of it is that concept will likely land at like an 8 or a 7. Evan, I guess, due to like, because it's like, well, there is some relevance, it's not the strongest relevance. So, yeah, anyway, so yeah, that would probably be my overall thing. It's like, 9 for art, like an 8 for soundtrack, I'll check, like an 8 for gameplay, and then like probably a 7 for concept. Anyway, so now we have to go back to Hero's Return because I have to show the nice reference in the game over, which it's also a bit of like a double-edged sword regarding what they did with the game over. Pretty much the thing is that they make a reference with the game over, but I've heard that the more movie contradicts that, even though it has something that is unique continuity. Yeah, so the thing regarding the game over is that the game over is a very specific reference. However, that game over is the only game over in the entire mod. So, even in situations where the game over may not apply, it's still used. So, they didn't exactly do anything custom with this. It's like, I'll just go in here. I guess one thing I'll try to show is, like, DK's miss animations. I actually have to get to the point where I'm actually playing as DK. Or I guess the lack of misanimations that he has. Okay, this stage is not the greatest thing for it. Good to know. Let's find a better place to die in.
3, 2, 1, go!
Yeah, here we are. The game over. It's the game over of Donkey Kong Country. It's referencing the game over of Donkey Kong Country 3. With like the little plate, like the lettered cubes. Like that's meant to be like the main sense of the reference here. Here, I believe the music here is also inspired by that game over theme as well. But yeah, it's like, I was playing as Dixie Kong, but that skeleton is boyfriend. Yeah, exactly. Donkey Kong, it's like, it's referring to the game over of Donkey Kong Country 3. Because of the cubes. And we at least get the DK64 okay. And I also believe I'm actually missing something else. Yeah, I wasted the time thinking that I was done with every song, and then proceeded to still miss one. Yeah, so the thing about Seafaring having Funky Kong in it, well, that's not exactly the fullest thing of the new Seafaring. That would technically be what this is.
3, 2, 1, go!
Which, this actually has new voices as well. Okay, there. I mean, it's like what? I played Seafaring 3 times now. Like I said, I feel like I'm trying to refer to Welcome Aboard, but Welcome Aboard I also only played twice. And that's actually another random thing that I want to point out. So, this is version 1.0.1. Now, one of the only real differences I found is that, so, the explanation here, this was not in the original release. That's pretty much the only real main difference I found. So that means the cannonballs were not explained initially, which therefore, like, generally presents them to be more of a hazard. Hazard than something you actually have to hit. The zingers here serve the exact same function that they did originally. They basically reduce they're essentially reducing what like the minimum health is to die. So instead of like your health has to reach 0, instead your health has to reach like 40%. That's just how the zinger, that's the function of the zingers. Where's Ruler Fool? Because I can just like, or this one too. It's like just if I just die in another song, it's like
Hey there, boss.
like
What are
showing
you
what I
doing?
mean by the fact of like
I'm taking a piss.
the fact that he uses the same game over for everything. Like, it only ever uses this game over, despite the fact that you have different situations where you're playing as different characters, or could even prompt something different for it. I mean, I guess at the very least, they at least have a new game over, to say the least. So it's not like they just completely abandoned it. But I feel like it's small things like this that further the immersion. It's like if they did actually give like unique game overs just to given songs because of the different characters, it gives more immersion to the mod as a whole. But yeah, it's not really gonna change my scores for this. Which like for this, it's like again like art would be a 10 out of 10. Soundtrack I would give it a 9. Gameplay, I generally would give an 8, much like the other one, because, like, it falls on the same issues, generally speaking. And concept here... Well, technically, there's such a relation with songs, it's kind of just up and down with these, so overall, it probably lands on the same concept, just being a 7. So it's like, overall, it's like, they're still, like, good performances, but honestly, it's still just very disappointing in the fact that it feels like it under-delivered. It's like it just delivered in like different like no, it's not the greatest aspects. Yeah, with that, we're done here. That's the end of it. I'm sure this time. Yeah, it's like that brings us to the end. 'Cause, like that's everything that I have to discuss us with K Rool's return. Alright, I still feel like I can't enjoy I can enjoy this mod. It's just that I'm just kind of disappointed in what it ended up choosing to do with some of these things. But yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you next time.